Example 2. Let's graph q of x equals negative 1/2 to the x power plus 1. So I see two transformations there. So we first have, let me grab a pen. We first have a vertical reflection, and a vertical reflection would be succinct enough again, but we also could add to that, it's a little redundant, but we could say about the x-axis. But if you oh, I can't spell axis there. There we go. That's an X. But if you just said vertical reflection, I'm okay with that. Remember, that means we take all the y values and multiply by -1. And then our second transformation is a vertical shift up 1 unit. So we have two vertical transformations. So that just means every y value after we multiply by -1, we're going to add 1. Remember, when we do our transformation operations, we have to preserve the order of operations. So what's our parent exponential function? Well, it's base 1/2, so it's 1/2 to the x power. And then we will, through transformations, get q of x, which is negative base 1/2 to the x power plus 1. So we're going to do two things to the y values. We're first going to multiply by 1 and then add 1. Nothing's going to happen to the x values. So our anchor points, our key points, are going to be -1, 2, and 0, 1, and 1, 1/2. Remember, we have -1, 1 over a, but 1 over 1/2 is 2. Then we're going to have 0, 1 always, and then we're going to have 1 a itself, which is 1/2 in this case. So I'm going to copy down all the x values first because I'm not doing any transformation in terms of x. But I am going to take 2, multiply it by -1 and get -2, and then add 1 to get -1. Then I'm going to take 1 and multiply it by -1, so I have -1 plus 1, I'll get 0. And then I'm going to take 1/2 and multiply it by -1 and get -1/2, but then add 1 and get positive 1/2 back. So horizontal asymptotes, the equation y equals 0. Well, we have to take that and multiply it by -1, which still gives us 0, but then we add 1, so our horizontal asymptote will shift up 1 unit. Now let's graph this. So I'm going to sketch my horizontal asymptote first. So this is y equals 1. I'm graphing q of x only right now. And then I'll just use these points. -1, -1 might be about here. And then I'll have the origin. 0, 0 are its coordinates. And then I'll have 1, 1/2. So maybe that's about here. So that'll be 1, 1/2. And then I just use those points, and I know that I have this ramp shape that's been reflected over the x-axis and shifted up 1. I can't cross the horizontal asymptote of y equals 1. I approach it as x goes to infinity, but I can't cross that. And there is q of x.